The captain growled and raised his weapon. But before he could fire, Aya sent a powerful blast of energy toward him. It hit him hard, knocking him to the ground. Everyone froze. Aya was breathing hard, but she stood tall. "I won't let you hurt anyone." The slaver captain struggled to stand. "You'll regret this, girl." Cain aimed his blaster at him. "No, you will." The soldiers of Haven surrounded the captain and his men, forcing them to surrender. Outside, the Haven fighters finally damaged the slaver ship enough to make it retreat. Cheers filled the air as the slavers ran away, defeated. Inside, Cain put a hand on Ada's shoulder. "You did it. You saved us." Aya looked up at him, her eyes shining. "I was so scared, but I didn't want them to hurt anyone." "And you stopped them," Cain said proudly. "You were brave." Lyra came over and smiled. "Aya, you have a gift, and you used it to protect others. That's what makes you special." Aya smiled for real, feeling proud for the first time. Later, as the colony fixed the broken walls and people cheered, Cain and Aya stood together, looking at the stars. "What will happen now?" Aya asked softly. Cain smiled. "Now you have a home, a family, and if anyone comes for you again, we'll fight. Together." Aya nodded. "I want to learn more about my powers. I want to help others, like you helped me." Cain smiled. "And I'll be right here to help you." As they watched the stars, Aya knew her life had changed forever. She wasn't just a scared little alien girl anymore. She was strong, brave, and free. And with Cain and her new family in Haven, she knew she would never be alone again. From now on, she would protect others, just like Cain had protected her. Together, they would make sure that no one else would be taken by slavers. Because now, Aya had found her place in the universe. Her story was just beginning. Another customer, another job. But in the back of his mind, he kept thinking about Salra, and what kind of trouble she was really in. Salra walked quickly through the crowded halls of Orbit Station E9. Her ears twitched as she listened carefully to the voices around her. Now that her radio was working, she could contact her people, but she still felt worried. The station was a rough place, full of traders, travelers, and dangerous people. Salra knew that not everyone here was a friend. She pulled her dark cloak tighter around her and tried to look calm. Behind her, in the shadows, two rough-looking aliens watched her. One had a long scar down his cheek. He nodded to his partner. "She got that radio working. This could be trouble," he whispered. Meanwhile, Daniel Briggs sat in his workshop, fixing the small broken drone. His mind wasn't on his work. He kept thinking about Salra. "She didn't tell me everything," he said to himself. "There's more going on than a broken radio." Suddenly, his own radio, sitting on the table, crackled to life. "Daniel, can you hear me?" It was Salra's voice, but she sounded worried. He quickly grabbed the radio. "I hear you, Salra. What's wrong?" There was a pause. "I think someone is following me." Daniel sat up straight, his eyes sharp. "Where are you now?" "I'm near the West Docks." "There are two of them," she said quietly. "I don't want to lead them to my ship." Daniel fought fast. "Stay where you are. I'm coming." He threw on his jacket and grabbed his tool bag. But this bag wasn't just full of tools. It had a few surprises, just in case. As Daniel hurried through the station, he passed noisy shops and food stalls. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved out of his way. Humans were rare, and Daniel was bigger than most of them. He spotted Salra near a cargo stack. She looked calm on the outside, but Daniel could see her ears twitching, picking up every sound. "You called for a mechanic," Daniel said with a grin, walking up to her like nothing was wrong. Salra smiled in relief but said quietly, "They're still following me." Daniel glanced around and saw the two aliens watching from a distance. "Yeah, I see them," he muttered. "Let me handle this," he added, with a wink. Before Salra could reply, Daniel turned and walked straight toward the two aliens. "Hey, fellas," Daniel said in a friendly voice. "Looking for something?" The one with the scar sneered. "Mind your business, human." Daniel chuckled. "See, that's where we've got a problem. You're following my friend, and that makes it my business." The second alien, a short but tough-looking one, crossed his arms. "Why do you care? She's Virexi. You don't want trouble with us." Daniel's smile didn't fade. "I don't like people who cause trouble for my friends. So maybe you should walk away." The scared alien growled. "You think you can stop us? You're just one human." Daniel shrugged. "Maybe. But I'm a human with a big wrench and a lot of spare parts." As he said this, Daniel casually reached into his bag and pulled out a plasma cutter, a tool for cutting metal, but also dangerous if used as a weapon. He flicked it on, and the bright blue light hummed to life. The two aliens took a step back. "Look," Daniel said softly, but his eyes were sharp now. "I don't want to fight. But if you keep following my friend, we're going to have a problem." The scared alien stared at him for a moment. Then he spat on the floor. "This isn't over, human." Yeah, Daniel said, waving them off. "Go on, get lost." The two aliens walked away, looking angry but not willing to fight Daniel today. Celera came up behind him. "Thank you," she said quietly. Daniel turned to her. "Anytime, but you need to tell me what's going on, Celera. Why are they following you?" She looked around, making sure no one was too close, and then spoke softly. "The Varn pirates. They're planning something big. I heard them talking about taking a transport ship, full of people. I was trying to send a message to my people to warn them." Daniel frowned. "That's why they were after you? Because you know their plan?" Celera nodded. "Yes, and now they know I fixed my communicator." Daniel scratched his chin. "Well, now they know I'm helping you too. So I guess I'm part of this now." She looked worried. "I didn't want to bring danger to you." Daniel smiled. "Celera, I'm human. Danger has a way of finding me. Anyway." She laughed softly at that. "Still, you didn't have to help me." Celera sat down, looking tired. "If only I could send a message to my people." Daniel sat beside her, thinking hard. Then his eyes lit up. "Maybe you can." She looked at him with hope. "How?" Daniel grinned. "There's an old signal tower on top of the station. Nobody uses it because it's broken. But I can fix it. If we hook up your communicator, you can send a message strong enough to reach your people." Celera's eyes brightened. "But will it work?" Daniel stood up, grabbing his tool bag. "If anyone can fix a broken tower, it's me." She smiled at him, some hope returning to her face. "Then let's do it." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. As Daniel and Celera left the workshop, they didn't see the scared pirate watching them from a dark hallway. He pulled out his own communicator. "Boss, they're moving. Heading to the upper decks." A voice replied, cold and sharp. "Follow them. If they try to send a message, stop them." The pirate grinned. "Don't worry. They won't get far." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Daniel and Celera made their way through the station's narrow corridors. Daniel led the way, holding a small scanner that helped avoid security patrols. As they reached a ladder leading up to the tower, Celera paused. "Daniel, if they catch us, they'll hurt you." Daniel looked back at her and smiled. "Hey, I'm not scared of a few pirates. And besides, I told you, humans don't give up on friends." Celera smiled softly. "You're braver than most." Daniel laughed, or maybe just more stubborn. They climbed the ladder, moving carefully. Neither of them noticed the pirate sneaking up behind them, a dangerous glint in his eyes. As they reached the door to the tower, Daniel turned to Celera. "All right, let's see if we can fix this old thing." But before they could enter, a voice growled behind them. "Going somewhere, human." Daniel turned quickly, his eyes narrowing. "Looks like trouble found us again." Salora stood close, her hand on her communicator. The pirate smirked. "You're not sending any messages today." Daniel took a deep breath, standing in front of Salora. "We'll see about that." The pirate took a step closer, but Daniel held his ground, ready to fight. The battle for the message, and their lives, was about to begin. Daniel stood tall in front of Salora, facing the scared pirate. The narrow hallway felt even smaller now. The pirate smiled, showing sharp teeth. "You think you can stop me, human?" The pirate sneered, holding a long metal rod that glowed faintly, some kind of electric weapon. Daniel didn't back down. "I think I can try," he said calmly, though inside he was ready to fight. Salora stepped closer to Daniel, her eyes sharp and alert. "We just want to send a message," she said firmly. "Leave us alone." But the pirate laughed. "My boss said no messages, and I always follow orders." Daniel tightened his grip on his tool bag. "Yeah, well, I don't follow pirate rules." Without warning, the pirate lunged forward, swinging his electric rod. Daniel jumped to the side just in time, the rod buzzing as it hit the wall, leaving a burning mark. Daniel pulled a plasma wrench from his bag, a tool he used for fixing engines, but now it would have to work as a weapon. "Stay back," Daniel shouted, holding the wrench in front of him. The pirate laughed again. "You think you can fight me with that? Why don't we find out?" Daniel said. The pirate charged again, and this time Daniel swung the wrench hard. It hit the pirate's arm, making him grunt in pain. But the pirate didn't stop. He swung his rod at Daniel's side, and though Daniel tried to block it, the shock still went through him. "Ah!" Daniel gasped, feeling his muscles freeze for a moment. Salora's eyes widened. "Daniel." The pirate smiled, raising his rod for another strike. But before he could swing, Salora pulled out her small blaster, something she had kept hidden in her cloak. "Step away from him," she shouted. The pirate paused, surprised to see the blaster in her hands. "You wouldn't dare," he growled. Salora's hand was steady. "Try me." The pirate hesitated. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Daniel, still catching his breath, said, "You heard her. Get lost." The pirate looked at both of them, then hissed, "This isn't over," before turning and running back down the hall. Salora rushed to Daniel's side. "Are you okay?" Daniel took a deep breath, then smiled weakly. "I've had worse. Come on, we don't have much time." Salora nodded, helping him up. "Let's get that message out." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. At the top of the ladder, they'd reached the old signal tower. The room was dusty and full of wires and broken equipment. Daniel looked around. Well, she wasn't lying. "This thing is a mess." Salora washed him. "Can you fix it?" Daniel grinned. "Of course. You just have to know where to hit it." He knelt beside the main console, opening a panel with quick hands. "I'll need a few minutes." Salora stood near the door, watching for more pirates. "Hurry. I think they'll come back." Daniel pulled out tools and started working, connecting wires and fixing circuits. "You know," he said as he worked, "this reminds me of a job I had once on a mining ship. They called me the man who could fix anything." Salora smiled a little. Looks like they were right. Suddenly, Daniel grinned as lights on the console blinked to life. "There, I've got power." Salora stepped closer. "Will it work?" Daniel nodded. "Should. Hook up your communicator." Salora connected her small device to the tower, typing quickly. "I'm sending a message to my people. If they get it, they can stop the pirates." As she worked, Daniel kept watching the door. "Come on, Salora. You've got this." Just as Salora hit send, footsteps echoed down the ladder. "They're coming," Daniel shouted. Salora looked at him, her eyes wide. "Did the message go out?" Daniel checked the screen. "Yes. It's sending." The door burst open, and 3 pirates charged in, including the scared one. "There they are," the pirate growled. Daniel stepped in front of Salora, holding his plasma wrench high. "You'll have to get through me first." The pirate sneered. "With pleasure." He lunged, but this time Daniel was ready. He ducked under the swing and hit the pirate in the side with the wrench. The pirate stumbled back, surprised by Daniel's strength. Celery fired her blaster at the other two pirates, making them dive for cover. Daniel swung again, forcing the lead pirate back toward the door. "I told you to leave us alone." Just then, a loud beeping sound came from the console. Celery looked over and smiled. "Daniel." The message went through. Daniel grinned. "Good. Now let's make sure we're still alive when help arrives." The pirates realized what happened. The scared one shouted, "Boss isn't going to like this." The three pirates retreated, running down the ladder. Daniel leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "That was close." Celery smiled softly. "You did it." Daniel laughed. "We did it." Celery looked at him with respect. "Thank you, Daniel. You saved many lives today." Daniel shrugged, but he was smiling too. Just another day for a human engineer. Outside, through the dusty windows of the tower, ships began to appear. Virexi ships, coming to help. Daniel and Celery stood side by side, watching the sky fill with hope. "Looks like help is here," Daniel said. Celery nodded. "And I think we make a good team." Daniel laughed. "Yeah. Maybe next time we'll fix something before it explodes." Celery smiled. "Maybe." But deep down, both knew this was just the beginning of their adventure. Daniel and Celery stood together, watching as bright Virexi ships flew down toward orbit station E9. The glowing engines lit up the dark sky, and for the first time that day, Daniel felt like they might be safe. "They're here," Celery whispered, her eyes wide with relief. Daniel smiled, leaning against the wall to catch his breath. "Yeah. Right on time." The pirates had run away for now, but Daniel knew they would not give up so easily. He turned to Celery. "We should get back to the captain. She'll want to know help is coming." Celery nodded. "And we need to make sure the Virexi ships know who to trust." Together, they climbed down from the signal tower, moving quickly through the station's twisting halls. Along the way, Daniel noticed more security guards standing watch now. It seemed the captain wasn't taking any chances after hearing about the pirates. "Good," Daniel thought. "At least someone is watching the doors now." As they walked, Daniel glanced at Celery. She looked calmer now, but he could see she was still worried. "You okay?" he asked softly. She gave him a small smile. "I will be, once my people are safe. And thanks to you." Daniel smiled back. "Hey, like I said, humans help their friends." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. When they reached the command center, the captain was standing at the big window, watching the Virexi ships approach. She turned when Daniel and Celery entered. "So," the captain said, arms crossed, "looks like you two pulled off quite a trick. We got a message from those Virexi ships. They're ready to deal with the pirates." Celery stepped forward. "Captain, I'm grateful for your help. I know we didn't have much time to explain." The captain nodded. "I don't like surprises, but I like pirates even less. So if this means we stop them, I'm in." Daniel grinned. "Told you she was smart." The captain raised an eyebrow at Daniel. "Don't push your luck, Briggs." Daniel chuckled. Suddenly, a loud alarm began to ring out across the station. "Warning. Unauthorized docking in Sector 6, the station's computer voice announced. The captain's eyes narrowed. "They're coming back." Daniel looked at Celery. "Pirates." Celery nodded quickly. "They won't leave until they get what they want." The captain turned to her officers. "Seal off Sector 6. I want guards down there now." An officer shouted back, "Yes, Captain," and ran out. The captain then looked at Celery. "Can your people help us stop them?" Celery nodded firmly. "If we can guide them to the pirate's ship, they can disable it before it escapes." Daniel stepped in. "Then let's give them that target." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Minutes later, Daniel, Selra, and the captain watched on a screen as Phyrexi ships surrounded the pirate vessel. "They're blocking their escape route," Selra said, her voice full of hope. "But what if the pirates fight back?" Daniel asked. The captain answered calmly, "Then we fight too." Just then, a message came through from the lead Phyrexi ship. A tall Phyrexi officer appeared on the screen. His dark purple uniform was neat, and his eyes sharp. "This is Commander Relak of the Phyrexi Defense Fleet. We are in position." Selra stepped forward. "Commander Relak, it's me, Selra. Thank you for coming." Relak smiled slightly. "You did well, Selra. Your message reached us just in time." Selra nodded. "The pirates are trying to dock in Sector 6. They plan to take over the station." Relak's smile faded, replaced by a serious look. "Not if we can help it." He looked at someone off-screen and gave an order. "Prepare to disable the pirate ship. No escape." Daniel grinned. "I like this guy." Selra smiled, but her face turned serious again. "Daniel, what if they still try to attack the station? There are still some pirates inside." Daniel thought for a moment. "Then we give them a reason to leave." The captain crossed her arms. "What do you mean?" Daniel pointed to the screen. "If the pirates know they can't win, if they see they're outnumbered, they might run." Selra's eyes lit up. "Or surrender." The captain smiled. "Worth a try." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. As they prepared their plan, another officer rushed in. "Captain, pirates in Sector 6 are trying to break into the cargo bay. Civilians are hiding there." Daniel and Selra looked at each other. "We need to help them," Selra said quickly. The captain nodded. "Go. Take a security team with you." Daniel grabbed his plasma wrench again, smiling at Selra. "Looks like we got another job." She smiled back. "Let's do this." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. As they hurried toward Sector 6, Daniel felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. "I never thought I'd be fighting pirates in space," he said with a grin. Selra looked at him. "And I never thought a human would be my best ally." Daniel laughed. "Guess we're both full of surprises." They reached the cargo bay door and saw a group of pirates trying to cut their way in. Daniel raised his wrench. "Hey, looking for trouble?" The pirates turned in surprise, and Daniel smiled. "Because you just found it." Selra stepped up beside him, her blaster ready. And as the fight began, Daniel knew one thing for sure. This was far from over. Daniel stood tall, holding his plasma wrench tightly as the pirates turned to face him and Selra. The pirates were surprised to see them standing there, but their shock quickly turned to anger. "There they are. Get them," shouted the pirate leader, a tall alien with gray skin and sharp yellow eyes. Selra took a deep breath and raised her blaster, standing firm beside Daniel. "We won't let you hurt these people," she said boldly. The pirates laughed. "You? Stop us. You're outnumbered." Daniel grinned. "Maybe. But we're not alone." Just as he spoke, 4 station security guards arrived, weapons ready. Behind them, 2 Phyrexi soldiers rushed in, their armor shining under the station lights. The pirate leader growled. "Fine. We'll crush you all." Without waiting, the pirates charged forward. "Here they come," Daniel shouted. The battle began. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The first pirate swung a metal pipe at Daniel. He ducked just in time and swung his plasma wrench at the pirate's legs, knocking him to the ground. Selra fired her blaster at another pirate, hitting his weapon and making him drop it. She moved fast, kicking it away before he could pick it up again. "Nice shot," Daniel called to her. "Focus," Selra replied, firing again to keep another pirate back. The security guards opened fire with their stun weapons, and the Phyrexi soldiers used their energy shields to block attacks. Still, the pirates fought hard. One pirate grabbed a guard and slammed him against the wall. Another fired a blaster at Selra, but she dodged quickly. Daniel found himself facing 2 pirates at once. "All right, boys, who wants to go first?" he joked, though sweat dripped down his forehead. One pirate lunged, but Daniel spun to the side and hit him with the wrench. The other pirate swung a heavy chain, hitting Daniel's arm. "Ah!" Daniel cried out in pain but didn't drop his wrench. He gritted his teeth and swung back, knocking the pirate to the floor. "You okay?" Celera called, worried. Daniel nodded, though his arm throbbed. Still standing. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The fight was fierce, but slowly, Daniel and his team began to push the pirates back. Suddenly, they heard a loud boom from outside. The walls shook slightly. "What was that?" Daniel asked, looking at Celera. Celera checked her communicator. "The Virexi fleet just disabled the pirate ship. They can't escape now." Daniel smiled. "Good. Now let's finish this." The pirate leader, seeing his ship was trapped, yelled at his crew. "We're not done yet. Take them all down." But even as he shouted, more Virexi soldiers entered the cargo bay, their weapons aimed at the pirates. "You are surrounded," one of the Virexi soldiers said firmly. "Drop your weapons." The pirates looked at each other nervously. "Do it," Celera added, stepping forward. "It's over." For a long moment, nobody moved. Then one pirate dropped his weapon. Slowly, the others followed. Finally, the pirate leader growled and threw down his blaster. "Fine. You win." Daniel let out a breath of relief and leaned on his wrench. "About time." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. With the pirates captured, the civilians hiding in the cargo bay slowly came out. Families, traders, and travelers, all looking scared but thankful. The little alien girl ran up to Daniel, her big purple eyes wide. "Mister, are the bad guys gone?" she asked in a small voice. Daniel smiled gently and knelt down to her level. "Yeah, kid, they're gone. You're safe now." She smiled and hugged him. Daniel patted her head softly. Celera watched, her heart warming. "You did good, Daniel," she said. Daniel looked at her and smiled. "We did good." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Later, back in the command center, the captain looked at Daniel and Celera with respect. "You two caused a lot of trouble today," the captain said with a small smile. "But you also saved this station." Celera bowed her head. "Thank you for trusting us." The captain nodded. "You earned it." She looked at Daniel. "Briggs, I never thought I'd say this, but maybe we need more humans like you around here." Daniel laughed. "I'll take that as a compliment, Captain." The Virexi commander, Ralak, appeared on the screen again. "Celera, Daniel, we have taken the pirates into custody, and we've secured the station. You are both heroes," Ralak said proudly. Celera smiled. "Thank you, Commander. I couldn't have done it without Daniel." Daniel rubbed the back of his neck, a little embarrassed but happy. "Just doing my job." Ralak added, "The Virexi Council will hear of this, and they may want to thank you both in person." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Fancy awards and speeches, huh?" Celera laughed. "Maybe. You deserve it." Daniel smiled at her, feeling proud. "Guess fixing that radio turned out to be a bigger job than I thought." Celera nodded. "And maybe a new beginning." As the station lights returned to normal and peace settled over the halls, Daniel looked out the window at the stars. "Who knows what's next?" he thought. But whatever it was, he knew he and Celera would face it together. The next day, Orbit Station E9 was calm again. The pirates were gone, and the Virexi soldiers were busy guarding the station, making sure everything was safe. People were back in the halls, talking and laughing, though some still looked a little shaken from the attack. Daniel walked through the station, feeling different. A day ago, he was just a repairman who fixed broken radios and cleaned engines. Now, people smiled and waved at him as he passed by. Some even thanked him. "Hey, aren't you the guy who fought the pirates?" a young alien asked as Daniel walked by. Daniel smiled. Yeah, I guess that was me. The alien gave him a thumbs up and ran off to tell his friends. Daniel chuckled and kept walking until he reached the balcony near the main control room. From there, he could see the Virexi ships still flying around the station. Everything was peaceful now. Enjoying the view, a soft voice said from behind him. Daniel turned and saw Celera standing there, her silver hair shining in the station lights. She was smiling, but her eyes looked thoughtful. "It's a nice view," Daniel said. "Feels good to see everything calm again." Celera walked up beside him. "It's thanks to you." Daniel shook his head. "No, thanks to us. You didn't give up, Celera. You fought to protect your people." She smiled warmly. "Maybe. But without you, my message would never have reached the Virexi fleet. You fixed that radio when no one else could." Daniel chuckled. "Yeah, who knew fixing a radio could lead to all this?" They both laughed, and for a moment, everything felt light and easy. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. As they stood there, the station's captain approached them. "Briggs, Celera." She greeted them with a smile. "Commander Relak has invited both of you to the Virexi ship. They want to thank you officially." Daniel blinked. "Officially? You mean like, with medals and speeches?" The captain grinned. "Looks like it. You're a hero now, Daniel. Better get used to it." Daniel scratched his head. "I don't know if I'm the medal type." Celera laughed. "Maybe, but you've earned it." The captain added, "A shuttle will take you there in an hour. Don't be late." With that, she walked away, leaving Daniel and Celera alone again. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Later, Daniel stood in front of a mirror in his small room, trying to make his jumpsuit look neat. He wasn't used to dressing up for anything special. "Why do they even want to give me a medal?" he muttered. "I just fixed a radio, and maybe fought a few pirates." There was a knock at his door. "Come in," Daniel called. Celera stepped in, wearing a formal Virexi outfit. It was made of soft silver fabric that shimmered in the light. Daniel blinked. "Wow, you look great." Celera smiled, a soft blush on her cheeks. "Thank you. You look good too." Daniel laughed. "You're kind, but I'm just a repairman in a clean suit." She stepped closer. "You're more than that now, Daniel." They stood in silence for a moment before Celera said gently, "Ready to go?" Daniel took a deep breath and nodded. "Yeah, let's go." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The Virexi shuttle took them smoothly to the flagship, a massive ship that hovered near the station. Inside, the halls were bright and clean, with Virexi officers standing in line, waiting. At the front stood Commander Relak, looking proud. As Daniel and Celera stepped off the shuttle, Relak greeted them. "I thought I'd say this, but maybe we need more humans like you around here." Daniel laughed. "I'll take that as a compliment, Captain." The Virexi commander, Relak, appeared on the screen again. "Celera, Daniel, we have taken the pirates into custody, and we've secured the station. You are both heroes," Relak said proudly. Celera smiled. "Thank you, Commander. I couldn't have done it without Daniel." Daniel rubbed the back of his neck, a little embarrassed but happy. "Just doing my job." Relak added, "The Virexi Council will hear of this, and they may want to thank you both in person." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Fancy awards and speeches, huh?" Celera laughed. "Maybe. You deserve it." Daniel smiled at her, feeling proud. "Guess fixing that radio turned out to be a bigger job than I thought." Celera nodded. "And maybe a new beginning." As the station lights returned to normal and peace settled over the halls, Daniel looked out the window at the stars. "Who knows what's next?" he thought. But whatever it was, he knew he and Celera would face it together. The next day, Orbit Station E9 was calm again. The pirates were gone, and the Virexi soldiers were busy guarding the station, making sure everything was safe. People were back in the halls, talking and laughing, though some still looked a little shaken from the attack. Daniel walked through the station, feeling different. A day ago, he was just a repairman who fixed broken radios and cleaned engines. Now, people smiled and waved at him as he passed by. Some even thanked him. "Hey, aren't you the guy who fought the pirates?" a young alien asked as Daniel walked by. Daniel smiled. "Yeah, I guess that was me." The alien gave him a thumbs up and ran off to tell his friends. Daniel chuckled and kept walking until he reached the balcony near the main control room. From there, he could see the Vyrexi ships still flying around the station. Everything was peaceful now. "Enjoying the view," a soft voice said from behind him. Daniel turned and saw Celera standing there, her silver hair shining in the station lights. She was smiling, but her eyes looked thoughtful. "It's a nice view," Daniel said. "Feels good to see everything calm again." Celera walked up beside him. "It's thanks to you." Daniel shook his head. "No, thanks to us. You didn't give up, Celera. You fought to protect your people." She smiled warmly. "Maybe. But without you, my message would never have reached the Vyrexi fleet. You fixed that radio when no one else could." Daniel chuckled. "Yeah, who knew fixing a radio could lead to all this?" They both laughed, and for a moment, everything felt light and easy. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. As they stood there, the station's captain approached them. "Briggs, Celera," she greeted them with a smile. "Commander Relak has invited both of you to the Vyrexi ship. They want to thank you officially." Daniel blinked. "Officially? You mean like, with medals and speeches?" The captain grinned. "Looks like it. You're a hero now, Daniel. Better get used to it." Daniel scratched his head. "I don't know if I'm the medal type." Celera laughed. "Maybe, but you've earned it." The captain added, "A shuttle will take you there in an hour. Don't be late." With that, she walked away, leaving Daniel and Celera alone again. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Later, Daniel stood in front of a mirror in his small room, trying to make his jumpsuit look neat. He wasn't used to dressing up for anything special. "Why do they even want to give me a medal?" he muttered. "I just fixed a radio, and maybe fought a few pirates." There was a knock at his door. "Come in," Daniel called. Celera stepped in, wearing a formal Vyrexi outfit. It was made of soft silver fabric that shimmered in the light. Daniel blinked. "Wow, you look great." Celera smiled, a soft blush on her cheeks. "Thank you. You look good too." Daniel laughed. "You're kind, but I'm just a repairman in a clean suit." She stepped closer. "You're more than that now, Daniel." They stood in silence for a moment before Celera said gently, "Ready to go?" Daniel took a deep breath and nodded. "Yeah, let's go." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The Vyrexi shuttle took them smoothly to the flagship, a massive ship that hovered near the station. Inside, the halls were bright and clean, with Vyrexi officers standing in line, waiting. At the front stood Commander Relak, looking proud. As Daniel and Celera stepped off the shuttle, Relak greeted them. "Welcome, heroes of Orbit Station E9, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Daniel smiled awkwardly as everyone clapped. Relak continued, "Because of your bravery and quick thinking, many lives were saved. You remind us that courage can come from anyone, soldier or civilian." He turned to Daniel. "Even a human engineer." Everyone laughed kindly. Relak stepped forward and placed a silver medal around Daniel's neck. "Daniel Briggs, for bravery and service in protecting others, we honor you," Relak said proudly. Daniel blinked, surprised by how heavy the medal felt. "Wow. Thank you." Relak smiled. "And Celera, for risking everything to protect her people and seek help." He placed a similar medal around Celera's neck. She bowed her head respectfully. "Thank you, Commander." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. After the ceremony, Daniel and Celera stood on the deck, looking out into space. "So, hero, what are you going to do now?" Salra asked playfully. Daniel smiled. I guess, keep fixing radios. Maybe help people when I can. Salra laughed. You'll always be more than a repairman now. Daniel looked at her, serious for a moment. You think you'll stay on the station? Salra smiled softly. Maybe. There's still a lot of work to do here, and I have friends here now. Daniel felt a warmth in his chest. Good, because honestly, I wouldn't mind having you around. Salra's eyes sparkled. I'd like that. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. As they watched the stars together, Daniel thought about how strange life was. A broken radio had led to a friendship, a battle, and now a new beginning. Sometimes, Daniel said with a smile, the best adventures start with a simple fix. Salra laughed. Maybe next time, we'll just fix a radio without fighting pirates. Daniel grinned. Where's the fun in that? And as they stood side by side, looking out into the vast universe, both of them knew this was just the start of many more adventures to come.